Welcome, everybody. Episode 31, Brad, of the latest. What
Yeah.
is
Hey,
it,
everybody.
July?
31 episodes. Wow.
So June 26th. So we'll call this the official end of the second quarter, right, of the year.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like half years are now years, maybe quarters are now years, right? How fast we're going. Because normally I think the spread of like releases, we are just talking this morning about looking for the new feature that OpenAI came out with. Okay, and then I'm looking like in the last 48 hours, there's just so much action and so much news.
3 summers ago, before OpenAI's major release of ChatGPT, there was not this much worthwhile tech news and software. Not even close.
It's crazy. I mean, just keeping up is
Yeah.
so hard.
That's why we've got the latest. That's why we've got the catch up. That's why we've got brain juice. That's why we've got the witty hour. It's
Exactly.
I mean, for the I think most right now, most people who watch this know us, and they know where to find us. But if you don't, check out our LinkedIn profiles for more. We have some great news for you today. Do you want to jump into the news feed here?
Um, Great news with the news feed. Sure. What are you talking about our Substack that we'll be launching by next show?
Oh, well, I mean, that's something I wasn't even fishing for. I wasn't even fishing for you to say that, but we could say that. I just meant the tabs I showed you right before we went live.
The tabs. Oh yes, no. I think right. First of all, Brad, the artifact stuff I saw on Claude yesterday, and I was gonna try to start digging through it. I'm just got sidetracked with something.
Yeah.
But then you said you wanted to bring it up. I'm like, oh great, I'll be watching right along with the listeners and learning.
Let's have a look. So,
Right?
for those of you who know, Claude um, is one of the large language models from Anthropic. It's like there's so many names, but you start to realize there's 5 or 10 names you should learn, and Claude.ai is one of them. It looks like this with the text field here for a large language model. So this is their blog from their official anthropic.com. And from yesterday, so probably not even 24 hours ago, they've changed their artifacts feature. So inside of Claude, you could make an artifact. And now you notice there's lots of new buttons here, right? Or at least new if you haven't looked in a while. There's the plus button that lets you upload files, add from GitHub or Google Drive, or take a screenshot, or use a project. So that's a set of instructions onto your language model. Then you can use specific styles. You can extend your thinking. You can search the web. You can search your Google Drive. You can search your email. You can search your calendar, or you can integrate other software. You can do research, so you can get a deeper, more factual, less, language generation. You can use extended thinking as well. You can change your models, right? You can select it that you want it to write, so it's more focused on creating. You can select that you want it to learn. You can select that you want it to code. Life stuff seems new. I don't quite know what life stuff is, but you're going to plan meals, plan home improvements, decision-making frameworks, mindfulness practices. And then there's connected apps, right? So there's all these integrations that you can add. All that seems cool. But also over here on the side, right? If you go to the side panel, right, you've got the new chat, your chats, your projects, and there's artifacts, right? So this is relatively new. They've had artifacts for a while, but what we're learning from Anthropic yesterday is that they've introduced a dedicated space to view these, right? And then you can embed these capabilities directly into your creations. You can embed AI capabilities and it transforms artifacts and now they'll become interactive and AI powered. And it says that people have launched over 500 million artifacts. You can now create an even more interactive experience. Let's look at this because it's pretty cool. So anyone can be a creator with these artifacts, right? You can build what they're calling even more interactive experiences. You can ask for a set of flashcards for a topic. You can ask to build a flashcard app that lets you pick your own topic and generate your own cards instead of a single use artifact. And an artifact is just like a shareable web link. People get caught up in the names of these things. It's a shareable web link, so I could give it to you, I could give it to anybody. They could go and use it And what they're doing is they're viewing it in their settings on their account, and then the way they interact with it stays inside their ecosystem of their account, their desktop, their internet signal, etc. So you could have an interactive app that you can share broadly, and it says additionally, the new artifact space makes creation seamless. So you can browse a curated view of artifacts to get inspired. You can customize ones that exist, and you can build from scratch, and then you can organize them. Um, it's 45 seconds, so let's. Ta-da. We don't even need the sound, but you click that button, right? And they made an animation that doesn't happen when you're using it. But they're like, let's create an interactive drum machine. And now here we are looking at an interactive drum machine with a kick drum. Let's pause it so we can see that. They've given you in this interactive drum machine a kick drum, a snare, a hi-hat, an open hat, and a clap. And then they're pacing out the beats. So it would be like two kick drums and a space, two kick drums and a space. And you can change the tempo, you can clear it, stop it, pause it, or you could try cowbell or jazz or lo-fi, right? So they've just asked for in the prompt an interactive drum machine. So what that used to be as a paid software, David, now took seconds,
Wow.
right? And now you're going to create that and click those spaces and hit play and watch the sound light it up. Um, And then you could share that with people. And then this looks like a game of Connect Four called Join Dots, Draw a Perfect Circle. Uh, this is some kind of game, create your magical story. Like it just goes super fast to show you that it's really up to your imagination what you're going to create with these artifacts. Look at them, they're just blurring by these games of jumping and moving. Um, a one-page project, it looks really, really, really impressive. All right. And so um, look at this. Here's a cover design. It says make this more vibrant, and now it's made it more vibrant. If you look on their Claude.ai/artifacts page, we got there by going to this artifacts link on the side. Um, you can look at your artifacts, the ones you've published, or get inspired to learn, to life hack, to play a game, to be creative, or touch grass. Um, right? And then if you want to enable this feature, you can power your artifacts with the Claude API, right? So you can get interactive documents, um, a writing editor, flashcards, an office simulator, a molecule studio, Python lingo, a generator of QR codes, a platform game, learn a language as a tutor, join the dots. Like these are really neat things. And then to create them, it seems like just natural language. You'd be like, hey, let's make a constellation app or a game that sees who can draw a perfect circle with their mouse or a piano.
And,
Um,
and Brad, sorry. So are those artifacts, are those almost kind of like GPTs that people would put in the store and make public, so you could just go in and tweak it?
exactly. Could you hear that when I click it?
N- No.
All right, I'm gonna stop share reshare so we can get the sound because it's kind of cool. Share with sound. There we go. You can see that now.
I can hear it.
You can hear that,
Wow. Yep.
and I think I can play that with my keyboard. So I'm gonna put my hands not on the mouse but on the keyboard, and
Wow.
so that's the piano bar. So yeah, these are things that people have made and shared, just like a GPT. Slime soccer, single player, 1 minute. I'm the red guy, I guess, and I don't know. Hey, look at that. I scored. Oh no, he scored on me. So, it seems silly when you look at those kinds of things, but I think people are using it for serious things. My weekly chronicle, I think your imagination will lead you to anything through these artifacts. I think we're going to see a huge thing. So let's move on because we're going slow
Oh,
here.
and by the way, real quick, I do love that QR code creator, right? But you said there was one that said that. But I just think with stuff like that, you really need to be careful because there's a lot of people that use QR codes to hide things and maybe send people to different URLs. This one's
Hmm.
probably great, but I would just say check it because security stuff, even though many of these AI tools look amazing and everything else, I think we're almost at the point, oh yes, I agree, right? And we don't know where some of these companies came from.
Yeah.
Um, just be careful, everybody. That's all I want to say about that today. I have two security. I have a security event today and tomorrow, so I'm trying to like get in the security mindset.
Canva has a QR code creator too.
Right.
Let's get through these. So Gemini will now let you code, right? They're calling it CLI. It's a command line interface because they didn't have any beautiful names left, so they gave it a command line interface. But Gemini is your open source AI agent. It's a terminal to let you code. So for those of you who love the Gemini ecosystem, uh, introducing Gemini CLI, it's an open source AI agent. It brings the power of Gemini directly into your terminal. It's lightweight yet powerful. It's open source and extensible. Unmatched usage limits at no cost, built with security in mind with Gemini 2.5 Pro and its large context window. Transform your terminal today with Gemini CLI. So for anybody doing that, you can get 60 model requests per minute. So that's like one every second. You can do 1,000 model requests per day. It's open source, available free of charge. Um, that is from the blog on Google, Gemini CLI. Um, Funny enough, we're on the latest, and this article is called The Latest on ChatGPT and MCP. It's a major leap in integration and data connectivity. So, MCP is like language, the protocol, right, to put contextualization between language models. So, it's like a bridge between language models like ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini. It's the computer bridge between agentic. So, you're sending out tasks, etc. OpenAI confirms that it's now live for Pro plus Team, Enterprise, and Education. So if you don't have the free version, if you have anything other than the free version, you can now use this. Um, that requires its own show. You got to talk to people like Brooks or reach out on the AI catch up. But basically, you can do, I don't know if I want to say magic, but it's kind of like computer magic with these tools. Um, it's it's something to learn. If you don't know, I'm just going to tell you it's the latest is that now you can do MCP with ChatGPT. I want to show you this is from Delphi. Delphi just closed, I think, like 16 million bucks. Um, what they're doing
Oh
is
yeah, Delphi. I
right, they're
hadn't
taking
heard about them for a while. Now I've been hearing every day this week somebody mentioned a new thing they're doing on Delphi. Sorry, Brad, please.
yeah, no worries, David. So look at you could talk to Arnold, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can get pumped with Arnold. Right? Brendan Burchard, who's part of our broader community. There's a whole host of experts. The idea is that you're getting the sound of their voice and the content of their knowledge, and you can talk to them. You can do philosophers and iconic historical figures. I mean, this is just free money, honestly, right? They took Plato's book, right, and made a character out of it, and now you're going to talk to these people. What a great business model, Sigmund Freud, etc. Um, or iconic historical figures, Tesla, Joan of Arc, Washington, Lincoln, Julius Caesar. Look at that.
Gandhi.
Gandhi.
Wow. Abraham Lincoln. Unbelievable.
Yeah, or you could talk to these um, the likeness of these real people. I won't say you're talking to the real people, but
Right.
you can start at $0 a month, right? I think you can chat and self-call. You can call them, and then for whatever reason, if you need to pay $80 a month to talk to a pretend Arnold Schwarzenegger, I guess you can.
Oh, wait, but that says builder. So does that mean that you can build your own for that, maybe?
Good question, right? Maybe they can talk to you for $80 a month.
Right. Or you could put that up for right clients you may want to resell that to. That's interesting. I think there's business models, and I know our friend, the late Dr. Mark Goulston, had been an I know they have kind of the whole training on him, who was the number one
Yeah.
suicide prevention doctor. And I think that it'd be nice to bring him back because I miss him. And if I could speak to him that way, he always gave me such great advice. I'd love to see what they did with some of those.
Yeah, I had a friendship with Mark in the last couple of years of his life, and he was a tremendous person. He was as genuine as you could imagine. Yeah, and I know you're right. He had a talking avatar as well. So talking avatars with celebrities. is a thing now, right? You're right that pricing is more like to have your own about you. Um, if you wanted a picture, David, like this, do you think you could recreate this picture using AI right now?
Could you recreate it using AI? You
Think you
probably
could get that
could.
accurate?
Yeah, I don't, I'll bet you could get the picture of something real and put yourself there, maybe,
Yeah.
right? I'm looking at the guy's feet. He could fall off. Some of these little micro things are a little tougher,
I'm
right? They're
tricking
just
you. This is AI. This is an AI photo.
all AI, huh? Okay. Yeah,
Photograph of an adventurous couple hiking on a mountain peak. This is the latest from Google, Imagen 4, right?
right,
It's from yesterday, right? Yesterday afternoon. But these images are astonishingly high quality. They will absolutely trick you. What's cool is people are making comic panels, right? A three-panel
right,
cosmic epic comic with the titles, what's going on, the plot, the text, etc. People are making this. It looks like they're one-shotting this, which is to say, giving it one prompt and it works and it looks great.
great.
Uh, I don't know that the sound of rocks in space is crunch and had. That's interesting. I
It's
don't.
like the Batman type popping words, right?
Yeah, maybe it's crunch had. Maybe Chad makes a crunching sound. But the images that you're getting are now indistinguishable from reality. Like you would not look at that and immediately think that wasn't just two people on a rock climb.
Right,
Uh, things like this are clearly, doctored or photoshopped or engineered just from the looks of it. Uh, but that is through Studio at Google, aistudio.google.com, or through their DeepMind, right? This is Imagen. Like this stuff is beyond belief, David, that this is generated from AI. The lighting, the look, the skin, the complexion, like it looks like there's detail at every level. These look like award-winning National Geographic photos that are now available to anyone with the computer and in a little bit of time. The frost on these flowers, like one can hardly believe this.
right. And I think, and where did they get the sources of these from? Right, or just what was it? I get that they're probably created new, but but again, where these models were trained is just coming up yeah, there's just a lot of ambiguity out there as to where things came from, right?
Yeah,
Because
so
even that first picture with the mountain, could that have been an actual picture from that range or something somebody created? I don't know.
yeah, that's true. It could be that the image is making a collage of existing mountain ranges
Right.
layered over top. It's hard to say. Um, I took
The,
a prompt that I just thought up. Use Imagen 4 to make a picture of a snowflake on the wood railing of a ski chalet balcony overlooking a valley December dusk. And it gave me these two. Um, right? So dusk, sun low in the sky, wood railing, ski chalet overlooking a valley, snowflake. Um, Gave me two versions of it. This is in Whisk in the Google Labs.
wow.
But I
Trying
mean,
that today.
it's pretty cool. And I did the same in the Gemini. It gave a very similar picture, right? The other thing worth mentioning is that HeyGen, for anyone that uses the HeyGen talking avatars, today at 9 a.m. Pacific or noon Eastern, I've signed up for this. There's a virtual community meeting where they're going to teach you what's the latest in HeyGen, which, if you look at their community blog, is gesture control. So now you're having direct hand movements for lifelike expression and storytelling. So for anyone who says, "Oh, the way I can tell," I'll go off screen share so we can see this. Anyone who says, "The way I can tell that it's an avatar is because their hands just move like this." Well, it looks like they're doing hand control. So you might be able to all of a sudden articulate the arms of your avatar and you might get some wacky inflatable hand movement that might be a little bit off of people's motions, but I think it's going to be tougher and tougher to prove you're real. You'd be like, "This is me. I'm moving my arms
Right.
around." If you can
Exactly.
do gesture,
Could you put that link in the chat, Brad? Because because that's great. Like I know one thing Evan was having issues with he was having we are having, for a TV show or consulting bit, it was hard to put just have the hands on the wheelbarrow pushing the wheelbarrow, right? So I think that I'm not sure if this tool will help him, but
Yeah.
he was mentioning that yesterday, and you mentioned hands, right? Because remember at the beginning of HeyGen, it was like the girl was like,
Yeah. Yeah. It was a tell. Essentially, it was a tell. And now
exactly.
I'm going to learn about this in 2 hours. There's direct hand movements for lifelike expression and storytelling. The other thing is they have a new, most advanced avatar that they're calling hyper realistic, responsive, and expressive. I'd love to learn what responsive means in this context. And finally, there's a feature for branded elements within your videos. That's interesting. So now I'm going to have branded content with a hyper realistic, lifelike expression, hand movement avatar. I think the trend, David, is going to be um, people who give you those I'm at home in my apartment and check out this product everybody video on TikTok and social media, that like off the cuff product placement ish, micro influencer. I think you're going to see a ton of those that are artificial. And then lastly, ElevenLabs, which is an audio software. Very recently, they've introduced their V3 Alpha. They're calling it the most expressive text to speech model. So you get a better range of expressive audio from the text that you type in. And then this is from the 23rd, so from 3 days ago. They've launched a voice assistant built to explore their tools. So anyone that likes these voice tools, hop on over to ElevenLabs.io. And I'll say that there's that .io because, David, I've noticed with these AI softwares, they're coming out so fast that what other people are doing is they're changing the Google search results. So if you go look for like Gamma, someone made a gamma.com, a gamma.app, and a gamma dot something else, and similar softwares, that it was Seed Dance. So ByteDance is the company behind TikTok. Anybody has a TikTok app, you've been using a Byte, B-Y-T-E, ByteDance product. And then they have SEE Dance, C Dance for video creation. But if you look up C Dance, you get a bunch of other people's websites. It's not the actual one. You have to look up ByteDance C Dance to get the proper URL.
Oh my,
Um, so it's a funny era where you have to start watching the URLs you click because someone says, "Hey, check out this AI software. It's, lightbulb.ai," and you end up at lightbulb.io and you're like, "That kind of sucked." And you go, "Wait a minute." So ElevenLabs.io for anybody that wants to check out the latest in voice. HeyGen for anyone that wants to check out the latest in video. Google's Imagen for checking the latest in pictures. Um, Artifacts by Claude for the latest in apps. And Delphi for the latest in knowledge base. Um, ChatGPT for the latest in MCP, and Gemini again for CLI, their command line interface for the latest in code. That's a pretty cool roundup of all the different spots on the wheel: images, talking, videos, knowledge avatars, coding, artifacts. Uh, it is absolutely essential for businesses and business professionals today to keep up on the latest because it moves every 7 days as if it was like 2 months.
that is phenomenal. Um, and yeah, I mean, just 1 week, but let me just show a couple things real quick, Brad, if I may.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
we're going a little over, but so first of all, this guy who I wasn't familiar with, Ar Arlis Tihan, is yeah, seems to do some great things on YouTube, over 500K subscribers.
Hmm.
But he did mention our friend Camille Banks right click prompt. So let me just play some of this real quick.
Go for it.
This is called right click prompt. And as the name suggests, you simply right click and you've got a list of prompts that you usually go to or enter into LLMs such as ChatGPT, Claude, or anywhere else. So you can see that there's a familiar interface. This is ChatGPT. If I right click, there's a new menu called right click prompt. And you can have different categories that you set and have all these macros or templates that pretty much use all the time in your cases. So let's say professional communication, we've got an email newsletter template. Click once and you've got the prompt ready to go on ChatGPT or anywhere else. So this saves you time, not only having to refer back to prompts that you use in the chat history in the past, but it also saves times from you like writing it and typing it from scratch. Right-click prompt is a Chrome extension, so you will need Chrome to have this ability to right-click with the prompts, and you simply install it. It's free at this time, and on the toolbar you'll see a new toolbar called right click prompt, and this is where you can set all of your prompts and modify them, create different categories and all sorts of things. So a really tiny and simple tool, but it fixes such a big problem. Next up, we've got a tool called
That's exciting though, right? Because Camille doesn't know this guy, didn't pitch it. The guy just found him, right? And it's
Hmm.
yeah, so it's cool. Camille, yeah, Camille. So anyway, congratulations, Camille. You're doing great things with AI Adopters Club. And Camille and I host our session together. And then here, let me just give Brad a couple things. We've got some new things at WITI since I'm on the web. And just to look, cybersecurity again is a very just I think a space we should all be aware of, whether we're looking for clients, opportunities, so many things happening. We're having the data governance session later this afternoon. But then we did just start oops, this is on the wrong day. We did just start this quantum computing session or every Friday. Quantum security and IT and quantum computing and cybersecurity is just a whole new market. I want our listeners to be aware of. AI is affecting everything right now. So it's yeah, it's overloaded. I was smiling because I was just thinking of Brain Juice Monday night and how it's just packed with so much info and some of those new companies and like what Dr. Harvey and Brooks are doing, our partners with the AI catch up, right? It's
Mhm.
pretty amazing that yeah, all this information is at our fingertips. Because as you were talking earlier, and I remember when I got my first iPad, there was like this one app where you could look up to the stars, and then see the
I
planet. You might right? Remember? Like
had
that was
that.
the coolest thing. Now
Yeah.
you could go talk to George Washington. I mean, right? Right? So it's just like how far we've come and not really that long of a time.
In the last 30 months, 2.5 years, let's say, since ChatGPT launched, I think it launched November, so we're closing in on 3 years, but it's been a complete shift to the only softwares that most business professionals use, right? I think you use the same set of softwares for 10 or 15 years, and then most people have all but abandoned all of them. I would say Photoshop users still use Photoshop, but for the most part, the people I know have completely abandoned all other computer software and they live only on Perplexity, Gemini, Grok. I'm hearing more Grok. I'm starting to use more Grok. It's
Right.
it's got to learn its lane, but Grok, Perplexity, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Canva, HeyGen, Miro, um, ElevenLabs. What's on your list? I know I named the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, Gamma I use quite a bit. There's been others. I keep coming back to Gamma. They're adding new features all the time. We're having the Gamma. This will be the last Thursday morning Gamma session. We're going to move it to a different time and day. But man, every time I look, and then just like stuff like Napkin, Brad, and I thought I knew Napkin, and you showed me stuff on the AI catch up a few weeks ago. I had no idea you could just put in a word and have it create infographics around the word.
Notebook LM,
Oh,
Napkin,
Notebook LM. Oh God. Yeah.
Otter,
Well, I mean,
Fireflies,
what's the one Manus,
Manus, GenSpark,
right?
right?
Exactly.
Like all those softwares didn't exist hardly even a year ago, and now it's like the only way the people I know do business. They just do business through those channels exclusively. You talk to someone like Alan Smithson, he lives in those channels.
Right.
I think
And
he's in France speaking in Cannes right now. He was in Dubai. He was in California. Like he's out with thousands of people every month, and I think he's very caught up on software. Um, Guys like Camille. I don't think Camille goes back to WordPress and Microsoft Word and Apple Notes. I think he lives only in those new softwares.
totally. No, absolutely. And Camille's done amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. You think we're going to start seeing, I think we're going to start seeing consolidation. I think there was a rumor I heard, don't quote me on this, that Apple may buy Perplexity, right? So I could certainly see, I mean, Microsoft with their big investment in OpenAI now has kind of integrated some of those tools in, but they seem to have other AI projects going on. Google, and Google's got, kind of the Office suite with their products with Google Docs, Google Sheets, so they have a lot of users, and now they can kind of just put all the AI products up through that channel. So I think it's going to be a very interesting next half of 2025 for sure. I think we're going to see so much happening.
Yeah. I think you're going to see Microsoft, Apple, Google. Uh, I think you're going to see consolidation of software. And as Ken Rakowski says, a lot of these things are features that you cannot patent. Having a music app is not a patentable thing. Maybe the details or nuances are, but when YouTube makes YouTube music and Apple makes iTunes, and then Google wants its own version of it, they don't have to go ask permission. They just make one. So for anyone
Right.
that makes some wonderful AI software, these giants are going to look at you and they say, we're either going to copy you, we're going to acquire you, we're going to hire you. Look at OpenAI. People are trying to poach their employees. ChatGPT's umbrella company, OpenAI, is getting offers in the news, allegedly, of $100 million for just individuals to go work in other organizations.
Crazy.
Is that true? Do I believe that? I don't know. Sometimes I think that these guys just phone each other up and say, "Hey, let's make up a bullshit story. Why don't we say I'm worth $100 million?" And they say, "Sure, great, done, deal. We'll put it in
Right.
the news." It's hard
Yeah.
to fathom that one individual gets a signing bonus of $100 million.
Right. Well, I remember, I don't know if I mentioned last week, but back in I think it was 94, maybe 95, there's a guy named Anders. I'm not gonna trash his last name, that built Delphi at Borland, and Microsoft had given him $1 million bonus to go there. That
Wow.
was the rumor, right? So now, I don't know, it's too crazy to think we've 100x, 30 years later, right? So 100 million, could they have got them for 25 billion? Or does it even matter because they're just trillions of dollars at stake?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Some of these companies are worth $3 trillion with a T.
Right,
It's unfathomable magnitude above a million.
right,
So when these large companies, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, when they go and purchase companies like Perplexity, or when there's allegations that they're going to purchase Perplexity, whichever company does or might, um, their $3 trillion valuation lets them do that. They can go to the bank and say, "Hey, I want to write a check for this many billions," and then whatever the details are, it's very likely that a lot of these softwares we're using in 2025 become features or consolidations of the main systems moving forward.
totally. And something that just flashed back. You probably watched Silicon Valley when that show was out on HBO,
Mike
right?
Judge, great show.
Right. Remember when they recruited Big Head because they just thought he was like a key player on the team, but he was just not, and then they wanted him to do nothing. I'm like, oh, did they just pay 100 million for Big Head? I don't know.
Well, you know
Anyway,
what? You say that, but I have heard allegations that some of those companies just locked up the best engineers so that they weren't developing somewhere else.
hey, I could, yeah,
Right?
crazier things have happened.
Yeah, I mean, you take the 1,000 best people and pay them $1 million, it's $1 billion. If your company was going to make 2 billion, you just made $1 billion.
Exactly.
And probably those guys made some cool stuff for you.
Right. Totally.
The
Okay,
latest, David, the
that was
latest.
The
The
latest
latest keeps changing. I bet you there's been another latest in the hour we've talked here.
is going to end. There'll be 10 other things that come out right after we end, like it does every week. But we'll cover it throughout the week. Thanks everybody for being here. Great to